My name is Steven. I have a wife who's 1 year older and a daughter in junior high school. The three of us lived together peacefully. That was when my daughter Emily was in her second year of middle school. The two of us were doing some year-end cleaning when Emily started asking, "Hey, where did Mom go? It's not fair that we're the ones stuck doing all the cleaning. She just suddenly disappeared." "Mom's at a New Year's party with friends. She'll be home late. She said we should eat dinner first." Again, I feel like she said the same thing before. But the last time it was a year-end work thing. Now it's a year-end thing with friends that she's doing. Such a busy holiday season. Why would she accept an invitation to a year-end party with friends? What are you trying to say? Nothing really. I thought she was just a more carefree person. Neither Emily nor I ever said it explicitly, but we were aware of my wife Katie's suspicious behavior. It seems that Katie, ever since my daughter started middle school, has been having an affair with some other man and hiding it from us. But Katie was a very cautious person. No matter how many times I investigated, she never slipped up. At last, I couldn't even find out the name of her lover. As time passed, Katie even abandoned her responsibilities to the house and started going out every day to have her own fun. One time, we had the following conversation. "Come on, what time do you think it is? If you're going to be late, can you at least give us a call beforehand?" "I gave you a call when I left the house, didn't I?" "I said I'd be late today, so eat dinner first." "Even so, that was normally at 8 or 9 p.m. It's now after midnight." "Oh, shut up. What time I get home is up to me." "Stop being such a fool. You have a daughter named Emily, you know. Next year she'll be taking her entrance exams, and as her mother, you need to support her. So what are you going to do?" "Well, you could do it too, you know." Saying that child rearing is a woman's job is like a dad from the 1950s. Don't act like you're something special when you haven't done any child rearing. In fact, you haven't done a damn motherly thing for Emily in the past year, have you? I can't stand this. Why are narrow-minded men like this? Children will grow up even without parents. Aren't you the one who's too overprotective of Emily? With your loud mouth, you're going to end up alienating her. What the hell? Don't talk down to me. This feeling, every time Katie and I see each other, we fight all the time. For Emily, who's at such a young, impressionable age, I feel really bad that we act like this around her. However, to abandon all housework and childcare, to live so recklessly, it seems like Emily felt and thought the same thing about her mother. "Dad, why don't you just leave her?" "Leave who?" "Mom, of course. You know she's hanging out with another man." "What, you noticed that too?" "Of course. She never lets us see who she's texting or when she's chatting with her friends. She's always dressing up nicely to go out, and she's always wearing that perfume that men seem to like." At that time, Emily was only 14 years old. However, even though she was young, she's still a woman. She's very perceptive. Even she knows her mother is acting suspiciously and suspects her of being unfaithful. I admired your insight. We have no proof that your mother is having an affair. So why don't we work together to find out? Let's follow Mom around on her days off. No, I've already tried to do that. She's very cautious. She's very, very alert. She knew I was following her right away. It only made her more cautious. I see. It's quite hard for us to follow her. But what are we going to do then? If we don't do something, we'll just keep crying about it. Well, don't worry too much. You think I've been twiddling my thumbs this past year, just sitting on my hands? What do you mean? Look at this. I've been putting aside some savings for the past year. Wow, that's almost $3,000. What are you going to do with that money? It's obvious. I'm going to hire an investigator to find out exactly what Mom's been up to. I'm going to expose her. Okay, now I have a little hope. Dad, if there's anything I can do, I'll help you. Thus began Emily and my counterattack against her mother. However, all we could do was wait quietly, wait and see what happens, wait for the investigation to conclude. But it was well worth it. We received proof of Katie's infidelity. All I had to do now was show my wife the evidence. But, hey Emily, do you recognize this guy in the picture? What? That's Mr. Johnson, my homeroom teacher when I was in first grade. What about it? Well, her lover is Mr. Johnson, it seems. What? You're lying. No, it's for real. Mom, well, there's a picture of your mother and Mr. Johnson going into a hotel together. What is she thinking? Your mother's home today. If you speak so loudly, she'll hear you. But when? What are you two whispering on about? I turned around to find a voice that seemed to be scoffing at our frantic conversation. With a faint smile, my wife stood there. Even though she stood in front of the evidence exposing her infidelity, she still had a calm demeanor. You're having an affair with Mr. Johnson, aren't you? An affair with a teacher from Emily's school. What do you have to say? Oh, did you find out? Well, it seems like there was a lot of people sniffing around me lately. I was wondering if that might be the case. What? How could you be so calm? You did a shameless thing. You think we'll just shut up and forgive you? Don't bet on it. I'm just thinking now is not the time to be making a fuss over nothing. After all, you hired a professional detective to follow me, right? It wouldn't do any good for me to make a fuss. Well, then, I agree. From now on, I know exactly what I'm going to do. What will you do? So let me ask you what you want to do with me. It's decided, isn't it? You'll be kicked out of this house, because I don't see you as my mother anymore. I feel the same as Emily. I want a divorce. Above all, we need to settle this matter as soon as possible. Emily's high school entrance exams next year may be affected. Oh, but I'm not getting a divorce. What are you talking about? I don't know how you can be so selfish. Emily's right. At least I'm positive that I won't continue on with a woman who can't even utter a single word of apology. Who asked for your input? I'm not asking you. I'm ordering you. What's wrong with you? Dad, you should kick her out. Are you sure? You're going to make a fool out of yourself. You're the fool. What's that supposed to mean? If you all plan on leaving me, I'll make sure to spread the word about the infidelity to the school and to our neighbors. I'll do it. If such news spreads, they'll start to look differently at us. Maybe even Emily will start to get bullied at school again. Are you threatening us? I'm just giving you some advice. You can take it or leave it. Don't play dumb with me. I'm not going to give in to your cowardly threats. Well, Emily doesn't seem to think so. Oh. As I turned around to look at Emily, she was trembling. The way she was shaking to me made it look like she was completely cowering in the face of her mother's cowardly threat. But that doesn't mean I should blame Emily for caving. Emily had a similar experience in elementary school. She was bullied by a girl in the same class. With that one word, my wife reminded my precious daughter of her past trauma. Trauma that completely sapped her of her spirit. She succeeded in taking it away again. And then the sight of Emily gripping my arm tightly while trembling made me not able to say anything else. For the next year, I had a really bad time. My wife continued having an affair with a teacher who became like a family member. As things continued on like this, sometimes things got so bad, sometimes she would spend months at the man's house. But in the meantime, all I could do as her husband, even if there wasn't anything meaning to it, was to keep collecting evidence of her infidelity. In the end, regarding my wife's infidelity, all I could do was keep quiet. But the turning point came one day out of the blue. That day was Emily's junior high school graduation ceremony. At the location, I, her father, of course, was there, but also her mother was also there. I'm so happy. I can't believe that our Emily will be giving a speech on behalf of her graduating class. Ah, that's right. Usually she leaves her family behind when she's wrapped up in her affairs. I'm sure she's just trying to keep up appearances. That kind of pretentiousness will be the death of my wife. But I'll say this, I haven't given up on punishing my wife. Up to this day, this very moment we've been waiting and calmly calculating our revenge. If she were a little smarter, she would have figured it out by now. The threats my wife made a year ago only had short-term and limited effects. Look, Emily's speech is about to start. Point the camera properly. After I'm going to brag about her to all the other wives. Yes, I know. You can brag all you want. Talk about how dumb you are. And now to continue, a graduation speech from our alumni representative. It's about to start, be quiet. As the program's MC read out the proceedings, Emily went on the stage with a microphone in her hand. Her appearance for some reason seemed slightly more mature than usual. I couldn't help but be a little moved. We are leaving this middle school today. To those who protected us, the guardians and parents who looked over us, the teachers, really thank you so much. All around me I could already hear the tearful voices of the other parents. Glimpsing at my wife, she seemed overtly proud. Don't put on that face like you actually raised her so well, I muttered to myself. Even when us graduates leave this school, we will never forget our gratitude to everyone. With this same feeling of gratitude, we will take flight toward a new stage of life. All the teachers who had a relationship with Emily were overwhelmed with emotion. When Emily entered middle school, she was very shy and introverted. Because of her withdrawn and introverted personality, her kind-hearted teachers experienced a lot of concern and were inconvenienced. Before that, I have only one thing to say to everyone here. I have to tell you all something. But my daughter has grown up so strong, thanks to all the teachers who personally supported her. My mother and Mr. Johnson have been having an affair for 3 years. This is not a lie or a joke. I have evidence to prove it. Well, honestly, she has grown so strong, in front of such a public audience. I never expected her to be able to expose her mother's affair like this. I could only hope for that much strength. Wait a minute. Emily, what are you talking about? It's the perfect opportunity. It would be a shame not to say it. Mr. Johnson, what I'm saying isn't a lie, right? No, that's enough for now. Come down from the stage and let's talk about it later. What are you saying? The speech isn't over yet. Now, pictures of my mother and Mr. Johnson entering a hotel room together. Let me show it to everyone. No, you can't do that. The graduation ceremony is being messed up. Several teachers were trying to stop Emily, and the stage was in total chaos. Now is the time for me, the father, to make an appearance. To be honest, everything has gone as planned. I went on stage. I grabbed the microphone from Emily, who was being held back by the teachers. I made eye contact with the flustered MC, who was standing next to a female teacher. I picked up the microphone. Nice to meet you all. I am Emily's father. First of all, I would like to explain why my daughter was driven to this extreme. Let me explain. I ran away from the teachers who were trying to chase me. Out of breath, I explained the whole situation to everyone. My wife was infatuated with my daughter's homeroom teacher, and he persistently pursued her. And long before, my wife also fell for him. and they entered into a relationship. One day I started to suspect our relationship, but as a countermeasure she dug into my daughter's trauma. The plan was made by Mr. Johnson, who was in a position to protect his students. Furthermore, regarding this terrible plan, even my wife, who was close to my daughter, agreed to this terrible plan as a desperate measure. There were various things like that. My wife was flustered and stood there dazed. Mr. Johnson was also shocked and almost shat himself. The other parents and students called for an evacuation. Seeing the two of them react like that, Emily and I smiled triumphantly and gave each other a high five. After that, Mr. Johnson received a strong reprimand from the principal and school board. As a result, he was forced to leave his position as a teacher. Naturally, he also had to pay compensatory payments of $40,000. This money will be used towards Emily's college education. As for my wife, she had to pay $30,000 in alimony and give up custody of Emily. After 3 months of separation, the divorce became final. My ex-wife was more traumatized by what happened at the graduation ceremony than by the financial pain. She fell into a depression, which has been quite a struggle. Currently, she's receiving treatment at a psychiatric hospital and trying to return to normal, though I'm not sure when that will happen. The only issue is I'm wondering if my daughter will be bullied over this. I was a bit worried, as she's been going to a private high school where there are not many students from her middle school, which makes for a relatively peaceful high school life. She seems to be enjoying it. Most of her classmates seem to be friends with her. It was due to her brazenness at the time that she is respected by her friends. As for me, even up until now, not much has changed. As the father of a teenage daughter, I'm still as busy as ever. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the story. We look forward to seeing you again. Please subscribe to our channel.